Welcome back to my channel. We're going to talk about something new today. It's been a while, so long that in fact I have had a haircut. But let's get straight into it. You don't want to hear me waffle. The other day I kind of woke up and I was just thinking to myself about some things, and I was thinking about this poster I saw at my friend's in my friend's dorm in their room, and it's probably a banned poster, but it says "Boys don't cry," and it got me thinking. Now, let it land, I kind of agree. Boys don't really cry. But that's because I believe that men cry, not boys. Now, what I mean is, obviously a little boy, like a kid, is going to cry. But when I say boy and I say man, I mean metaphorically. Because what a boy is like, boys, they're immature, insecure, they're worried, they're anxious about all these different perceptions coming in at them from outside, from society, from anywhere that isn't in themselves internally. A man is someone who is secure in himself enough to know that judgment from outside can be ignored in certain places, is mature enough to know that crying is okay to do as a man, and he's just this mature version, this mature, secure version of the boy, right? And I wanted to bring this up because I feel like there's so many guys out there who are going through stuff. I'm not just saying only guys go through stuff. I know everybody goes through stuff, but oftentimes some guys will feel like they can't cry in front of anyone because there's this whole stigma around that men don't cry. But that's stupid. If you gotta cry, you've gotta cry. Bad stuff happens, and crying is a natural response to that trauma, to that event. And to say that this, like, a whole gender can't because there's some sort of stigma around it is absolutely, I just don't agree at all with it. So if you're a guy out there watching this video, I'm sorry if I clickbaited you in, because I feel like the title's going to be something like "Boys Don't Cry." But I want to let you know, you certainly can cry. Bad things happen. A lot of bad things happen. Are you supposed to tell me that if one day, by some tragic event, touch wood, knocked on my wooden drawer next to my bed, that you lose a family member, you can't cry? Is that what I'm supposed to believe? That this massive, tragic, traumatic event happens and you're not even allowed to cry because you have a Y chromosome, you have to keep up this manly facade for society? I don't subscribe to that whole this whole train of thought. Now, if you're not comfortable crying in front of other people, that doesn't mean you can't go and cry when you're by yourself. I'm just trying to let you know it is more than okay as a man to cry. It's more than okay as anyone to cry. You don't have to keep up this whole manly facade all the time. You can let out you can shed a tear. You can show a little bit of vulnerability to yourself, because ultimately that is how we learn from ourselves. We show ourselves this little bit of vulnerability. We allow ourselves to see ourselves maybe in this frame as to where we are perhaps struggling more than we have been in the past, and it allows us to find a way to work through the pain or the culmination of your experience with the trauma and work through it in a healthier way. Because I tell you, between the two options of, say, you losing a family member, getting touch wood, I hope that doesn't happen to any of you that watch this, or anyone in general, because it's a horrible thing. There's two options really. You either you let it all out, you cry, you talk about it with friends, family, I don't know, whoever you choose to talk about it with, or you leave it inside and you bottle it up. And I've done both before. I think most people have, at one point or another, bottled something up or tried to get it out by talking, by crying, whatever way. And I would tell you, with my personal experience, I would much rather knowing that I've done both before, always go down the route of talking, getting it out. Because every time it's been bottled up, at some point or another, it bubbles back to the top of my mind. Sort of the way that a volcano erupts, you know, the volcano lays dormant for hundreds, thousands of years. Then one day the magma bubbles right up and all the way through the top of it, volcanic ash, volcanic just magma, volcanic rock spewed into the air, thousands of meters tall, like kilometers into the air. That's kind of what happens with emotions when you push them all down. And I know sometimes you feel like you have to, because life doesn't stop just because bad things happen. So you're like, push it down, push it down, push it down, push it down. And then for some guys, especially on top of that, they think, all right, push it down more so I don't cry because I'm not supposed to because I'm a man, and all of this stupidness around what being a man is. And then, you know, a week goes by, a couple weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, a month goes by, a couple months go by, maybe nothing. And one day you'll just be about your life. And these feelings, these emotions, they will start to rise back up like the magma coming up to the mouth of the volcano. And this could happen very slowly, and it could happen over 2 weeks, maybe, or any extended period of time where they start bubbling up and then and you end up erupting. Or it could happen literally like that. Wish I got it on the first time. Wish I got that click on the first time. It will just start to bubble up. You might just be out. You might have let's be real, a minor negative experience. That took so much to get out. A minor negative experience, like you might get given the wrong order at a coffee shop. But because these feelings have started to bubble up, you'll erupt. You might shout at the barista when you would never have done so before. You might slam your fist on the counter like, that's not my drink, when you never would do something like that over these small inconveniences. All because you pushed all these emotions down and left them to erupt later on. So I'm just coming on this specific video here to say, boys don't cry, because boys are immature. They crumble under the judgment of society, and I don't blame them, because society has set up so many silly trains of thought that do end up impacting a lot of people. So I don't blame them, but that boys, they crumble under this. And I'm not saying at all, by the way, that I'm more of a man than you if I cry. That's not what I'm saying. Look, I've still got tons of stuff to learn. I'm just coming on here speaking about my experience with men and crying and boys and crying. And remember, boys and men metaphorically. I'm not saying that everyone over a certain age is a man and then they all cry all the time, or anyone below the age of some whatever, they don't cry ever. I'm saying metaphorically. So technically you could be a 30-year-old man and metaphorically be a boy, or you could be a 20-year-old guy and you could metaphorically be a man. Right? I hope you understand that. I hope I've explained it well enough that you do understand what I'm trying to talk about. But I'm just coming here to explain, the boys, in my opinion, boys, immature, crumble under this society's pressure. Again, don't blame them. And then just feel like they can't cry. And then the men, just the guys who have realised, life's life, I don't have to let society dictate what I can and can't do. They've matured. They're more secure in themselves, and they know that crying, getting those emotions out, is for the better. And that's just my opinion on the matter. If you believe differently to me, I'm just a guy on the internet. I'm not your dad, I'm not your teacher, I'm not any sort of authority figure in your life. If you disagree with me, you're allowed to. These are just my thoughts. And I just, with so many, unfortunately, so many men who take their lives all the time, I feel like if we just created, number one, if we broke down the stigma that men don't cry, and then we cultivated a society of guys who share, who talk to each other, it would benefit so many more people. And I feel like, again, I don't have any sort of data to back this up, but I feel like quite a few less men would take their lives as they realised, you know, they have people who are okay to talk with them. They have people that they can open up to, be vulnerable in front of, cry in front of if they have to. And again, anyone can cry. Man, woman, no matter who you are in life, you can cry. If you're sad, you're upset. Sometimes crying is the best way to get it out. I think quite literally what crying is when you get emotional, it is this overload of hormones, and so your body makes you cry because it gets rid of all those excess hormones through your tears. And it's literally your body just trying to re-regulate your hormone level so that you're not so emotional. And so you think, forget about the metaphor of me saying pushing it down and then erupting like a volcano. Imagine you stop yourself from crying. Your body's literally trying to neutralize, to come to a neutral level of hormones so that you don't feel completely emotional. And you're telling yourself no, and then all these extra hormones are staying in your body. And of course you're going to feel a lot more emotional throughout however long that you stop them from coming out. This is based on something I think I remember seeing a little while ago. So take that one with maybe a handful of salt, just in case I got anything wrong. But you know, it kind of goes hand in hand with the metaphorical pushing things down as well, doesn't it? So I think if I try and speak anything else on this topic, I might just go around in circles, and I don't want to end up having like a 50-minute video of me saying the same thing about 4 times. Don't think anyone wants that. So I'll probably sign that one off here. I just want to let you all know, if you are going through hard times, speak to someone, please. Don't push it down. It always ends up coming back up and exploding in a way that you'll probably regret for a long time. Knowing that if you just spoke about it, if you just opened up about it, even if you just let yourself cry in your own room away from everyone else, it was a lot less likely something that bad was gonna happen. Just trying to think of a fancy word, and I couldn't think of it on the spot, but that's fine. But yeah, so let it out, talk to someone, even if you can't talk, even if you don't feel like you can speak to someone, you can, like your family. If you feel like you could speak to a teacher more easily, speak to a teacher. Just speak to anyone you feel comfortable speaking to. Maybe one of your friends. I don't know who you feel comfortable speaking to. Just speak to them, please. Men certainly can cry. Anybody can cry, no matter who you are. Just speak. Please, just get help if you need help. Just speak if you need to speak to someone. And yeah, I think that's this one for today. This could have been episode 22, 23, 24. I forgot what one we got to, but it's been a while. And this was something I genuinely felt I could speak on. So have a great day. Please do. Speak to someone if you need to. Get help if you need to. I don't want to hear about any more people taking their lives. It's such a tragedy that some people see that as the only way out. But yeah, have a great day. I'll see you in another video. Goodbye now.